Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for this interesting panel on the pharma industry in the digital and ecological transition. This is the round 4 of our XYZ Talks, and my name is Ludovica Fabrizi. I'm a former law student at Lewis University, and today I'm a New York bar attorney working as international affairs manager for GIA law firm. The XYZ talks are intergenerational dialogues between current and future leaders of the digital and ecological transitions belonging to the 3 different generations, X, Y, and Z. Today, we're going to address the pharma industry in the digital and ecological transition. In particular, during this hour together, we're going to discuss new digital frontiers and disruptive innovation in the healthcare sector with our distinguished panelists. This discussion is crucial for the law, digital innovation, and sustainability community because it resonates with several courses that are offered to students during the Master of Science, such as Healthcare 4.0, Pharma and Therapies, and Biotech and Clinical Engineering. But now I would leave the floor to Elena de Nictolis, adjunct professor of governance of innovation and sustainability and postdoctoral researcher at the Department of Political Science and research fellow of LabGov City, that will give us a brief introduction on the Master in Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability. Please, Elena.
Thank you, Ludovica, and thank you everyone for joining us in today's conversation. So before delving into the specific topic of today's discussion, I'm just going to give our audience an overview over the master's degree Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability that is hosting today's conversation and the XYZ talk in general. The Master in Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability is the first example in Italy and at the global level as well of a course based on legal disciplines and focusing on addressing the issue of innovation and sustainability. If we can please go ahead with the slides. Sustainability, and please go ahead, sustainability and digital innovation are 2 of the major challenges for sustainable development established at the global level. And there is both a tension but also a virtuous relationship between them. And the reason why this course decided to address digital innovation and sustainability from a legal perspective, so why law, is because there are professional figures that are required from the current labor market. Some of these figures are already there, some are still in the shaping, especially in this particular moment. This is valid for both professional careers in corporations, in the legal field, policy advice, everywhere. So please go ahead with the slide. So there are a lot of job opportunities offered to professional figures that are managing these complex challenges at the global, EU, or national, or also local level. Another great innovation of this course, beside the topic it addresses, is, please go ahead with the slide, an inquiry-based approach. So the methodological innovation that this course addresses based on on sectorializing the learning approach, based on with the aim of forging students with original critical and analytical skills, but also uniqueness and singularity in the way they address these issues. So we are going to do so by merging different disciplines, and we will see this shortly while looking at the different core courses and elective courses, but also by building studio-based approach through co-design methodologies and innovative learning approaches to design sectorialized experiences for students. Another great feature from the methodological innovation standpoint of this master's degree is the strong focus on self-governance of the student community. And the XYZ talk, if we can please go to to the following slide, and the XYZ Talk series is an example of that. So Luis strongly encourages self-governance of students, and one of the examples is the organization of different initiatives and the creation of this XYZ journey that it's eventually going to end into the creation of an entity that will be self-governed by the LDIS community of students, that every new student is of course welcome to join. So this course consists in a 2-year travel. The innovative methodological approach is based on an incremental journey that the student starts at the very first semester with the core courses and the first research and innovation labs organized both within the courses and as complementary activities. Then it continues in the second year in the second semester of the first year with, again, core courses and responsible research and innovation labs alongside the X labs, the jewel of the Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability course, where corporations, institutions, startups, and several partners that Luis was able to engage are going to support, accelerate, and incubate the projects created by the students within the labs. Then, of course, there are soft skills learning opportunities, for example, language lab, entrepreneurship labs, and different kind of other learning opportunities to increase also cross-cutting skills, close to the vertical skills. And then finally, the internships that are going to take place during the summer through summer internships, but also throughout the second year of the master's degree. And finally, there is the final result is going to consist in a final project work rather than a typical academic dissertation consisting in a 100 pages written thesis. The students are going to create a final project that is going to be the result of the work that they carried out, starting from the R&I labs, then through the X labs, and finally that they will concretely realize within the partners through an internship. If we can go to the following slide, please. So this is just to give you an idea of the core path. During the first and the second semester, there are, again, this is the transdisciplinary approaches. You can see there are courses of law and policy, ethics, economics, and of course, digital transformation. And then during the second semester, governance, criminal compliance, intellectual property law, new technologies, and labor law. If we can go to the next slides, please. And then for the second year, students have to choose between majors, so one major in sustainability and one major in digitalization, and where they have core courses more characteristic of the two different paths, and then they can choose electives. So if we can go to the following slide, please. As you can see, there is an incredible choice of electives, both more on the art science pole and on the social science pole. Just to give an example, you can choose between, for both electives, you can choose between smart cities, climate justice, edge computing, data science, robotics, and manufacturing. So you can carve your own path. Next slide, please. Thank you. Finally, this course, it's one of the, we're very proud to present for this course a very rich choice of and opportunities of scholarships. They are both scholarships and studentships. We call them LDIS-ships. We collected several partners, Ernst & Young, LabGov.City, Bancomat, NLX, Inuit, Qualcomm, Entity Data, RatePedev. So as you can see from these are also the partners of the X Labs, and as you can see, they come from the institutional, the startup, they are NGOs or corporations that decided to join this adventure and contribute to carving the professional, the future of this generation embarking in this journey with us. If we can please go into, so these scholarships, again, this is a wider range of partners alongside those that sponsor the scholarships and studentships. So there's really plenty of opportunity to support your journey once you are enrolled in the Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability course. If we can go to the next slides, and then I'm closing. As I anticipated, there are the jewel of these 2 years travel are the R&I projects. So this is an opportunity of job-based training or job-based learning. So you learn while you carry out the internship, you learn while you create a project, and you pursue it within a professional environment, a work environment. So there are several opportunities to craft your R&I project during the first year, and then actually put it on the ground in the second years. So the R&I projects opportunities currently offered to the students that are already enrolled in this year, and Judith, that I'm yielding the floor to in a few seconds, is one of the, she is one of the students that she can talk to you about her experiences, and she's precisely focusing on health for her R&I project. Some examples: European projects such as the Engage EU Universities Network, our work with the INEA agency on energy communities, the City Science Initiative to increase city networking and city diplomacy at the European level, or Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020, and now Horizon Europe projects, for example, EU Arenas or Open Heritage, and finally also projects funded by the EU structural funds, such as the Urban Innovative Action Co-City Touring Project, or the City Science Office in Reggio Emilia. Of course, we don't have just European level opportunities, we also have global level opportunities. One example is our work with Georgetown University, that is also a collaboration that created the Summer University on Cities, Digital Innovation and Sustainability, which is partially connected with the course, although there are two different initiatives. And we are working with them in cities in the US, such as Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Silicon Harlem, New York City. So I'm going to yield the floor to Judith. These are our contacts in case you have any issues, any questions or clarifications. And Judith, the floor is yours. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Elena. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judith, and I would like to introduce you to our community. I'm a first-year student who am about to complete my first year studying this MSc in Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability, and I'm proud to be part of the pioneers of this program. And now we are about 50 students from 10 different countries of origin, made up of international students, which contain 27% of our population, and the rest are Italians. We are coming from countries like myself. I'm from Ghana. We have students from the US. We have students from Nigeria, Russia, Germany, and Spain, Costa Rica, and the others. So beginning the program in our first year, we were asked to conduct a survey, and in participation of the survey, we got to know that some of our students would like to change the world. Some of our students are studying the course to get a dream job. Some of our students are studying the job to change the world, to create knowledge, to get out of their comfort zone, and others. But I think I'm part of the population that chose to change the world, because I believe in using innovation or innovative tools to make our world sustainable as well as enjoyable. And so we are also from different degrees. I studied information technology for my bachelor's. We have 31% of our population who studied law, and then others from economics background, management background, public admin background, and all that. And together we form a nice blend with both male and female of about 54%. And so moving on. Okay, so we conducted another survey as well, and then we wanted to find out which department we would all like to join. And we realized that some of us wanted to join the legal department, the CSR, the RICS, communication, policy, sales and marketing, strategy, community involvement, sustainability, and R&D. Well, for me, I chose the R&D department. And also, we wanted to find out which of the sectors we would like to join as well. And some chose energy, cities, mobility, biotech, aerospace, manufacturing, healthcare. And based on this, we were groups or we were placed in clusters. And since I chose mobility, I was placed in the automotive and transport cluster. Moving on, we find out that we were placed in this X Lab groups, and the X Lab groups was to get us involved with our partners so that we will solve real life challenging situations. For instance, in my case, where in automotive, we were given the challenge that if you were asked to wait for 30 minutes at the charging station, what would you do within that 30-minute space? Or what would the charging of the future be like? And with this, in a group of 7, we came up with innovative ideas such as 5G installation, the local boxes for farmers to interact with customers directly, as well as engaging NLX by coming up with an innovative hub where we will rent out spaces for startups to use that space to interact with customers by explaining their products to them. And we have other clusters as well, such as the well-being. For instance, with what happened from 2020, COVID-19, well-being decided to take care of the trauma of being at home for over a year and then attending classes from online. So well-being decided to come up with innovative ideas about how to take care of students who are going through this trauma so that their well-being will be better in the next years to come, as well as energy and telcos networks cluster decided to check the energy clusters we have in Italy and found out that there were zero number of energy clusters, but we had quite a number of energy clusters in countries such as Germany. And with this, they decided to come up with an innovative way of interacting with Italians and involving our citizens as well. Moving on, we have this were the kind of steps the S Labs used to engage us with our partners. So we started with a kickoff meeting where all the partners were introduced to us, as well as the kind of challenge to involve ourselves in or to fix. And then we continued by exploring our ecosystem. We entered the co-design phase where we had to use something we've never used before. That's the mural, the steps segregated, and then we went through each phase. And then we went to another phase, which was for the peers and mentors review, where we rated ourselves, we reviewed our works on what we've done so far so that we know that we are on track. If we are drifting off, we can bring you back on track with the review and to commend those who are doing well. And we went on with a proof of concept and then with the final pitch, which unfortunately my group didn't win the best project, but we still did our best. The best group that won was for the well-being, as it was I also like the idea because it was really innovative and it suited the situation we are in now. And moving on, I would like to invite you all to join this innovative and interesting program, because for me, I'm going to major in digitalization and I'm anticipating what would happen in courses such as the data protection law, finances and financial technologies, what Professor Elena mentioned before. I'm really fingers crossed about what's going to happen, and I hope to utilize the best that I can in this program. Thank you very much. You can scan this QR code to follow us, our community on Instagram, and subscribe and like to all our posts. Thank you.
So thank you, Elena and Judith, for this introduction. Now I will go to introduce our distinguished panelists for today. Rosita Calabrese, Country Manager of Angelini Pharma, Italy. Antonio Marzano, Chairman of the Board of Directors of XCM Healthcare. And Antonio Gaudioso, Fortune Italian and member of the Ethical Committee of the Italian National Institute of Health. So I would start by directing the first question to Rosita Calabrese, to which I would ask to keep her intervention between 5 and 6 minutes so that we have time for further question later on. Several surveys have shown that awareness of the fundamental role of technology in supporting health has increased among the population. More than 60% of the Italian population is ready for the step up of digitalization with regard to healthcare activities. So, what are the trends of the pharma sector that we need to pay more attention to?
Thanks a lot, Mrs. Fabrizi. So thanks, let me say a few words. Thank you, Luis, for the invitation, and thank you all attending the talk. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you all today. As a player of the pharma industry since almost 20 years and as a leader of a pharma organization, I'm delighted to share my experience and knowledge about the pharma industry and to discuss where it's ahead in the future. We need a young generation who wants to change the world. So thanks a lot, Judith, for your introduction and speech. Coming back to your question, that's absolutely true, Ms. Fabrizi. COVID has been a global driver of change. It has affected all sectors across the board, pharmaceutical included, leading to an undisputable step up in terms of digitalization. You asked me what are the trends for the pharma sector that we need to pay more attention to. Well, I will summarize saying that there are three main areas that will characterize the pharma industry in the coming years. Number one, digitalization. Number two, personalization. And number three, environmental sustainability. This does not mean that these did not exist before. Rather, it means that they did exist. They simply have a more specific meaning today. Among these three trends, digitalization undoubtedly occupies a prominent position. There are two main aspects of digitalization. One is the transformation from pharma to pharma 4.0, which is pragmatically means the availability of innovative processes and devices. It means that this requires reviewing the drug production chain, increasing efficiency and effectiveness of the curative process. And the other aspect, which is the development of digital health, means has all those practices that will facilitate doctor and patient communication and improve prevention and all treatment through digital tools. A direct consequence of the first trend is personalization, as mentioned before. Thanks to the data provided by digitalization, in fact, it will be easier to understand our end user, define their preference and characteristic. Last but not least, sustainability. Environmental sustainability is a trend that the pharmaceutical industry, like all others, might pay attention to. For example, just to be pragmatic, it means elimination of plastic. It means to transfer of a green approach in relation to disposal of medicine, their packaging, dedicated campaigns for consumer, use of recycled materials in the packaging, and so on. Or another example might be to use the QR codes to avoid waste of paper, reducing by almost all the amount of paper copies of summary of product characteristic or similars that has to be mandatory delivered to clinicians. Angelini is pursuing a series of activity considered strategic for the company, but regardless Angelini pharma interest in itself, I believe it's important to share with you all guys that represent the future. You are the people that will change the pharmaceutical industry in the future, but not only what is our purpose, what motivates us, what guide us on our daily job. Sustainability can goes beyond being green. Sustainability, we can be sustainable through scientific medical information. For example, the daily activity of scientific information carried out by a representative in 2020 has contributed substantially to the scientific and cultural updating of the health workers. Sustainability can go through personalization as well. For example, Angelini Pharma has created a virtual space of interchange to support clinicians based on request. In this way, doctors can have a direct channel with the medical management personalizing their requests according to their needs. So, I will stop here in order to stick to the 5 minutes allowed to me, and I hope I have been clear on what I wanted to convey to the audience. Over to you.
Thank you very much for this very interesting insights on Angelini Pharma. Now, I will direct my other question to Antonio Marzano, Chairman of the Board of Directors of XCM Healthcare. So even in a trying period such as last year, XCM still managed to provide efficiently its services by reshaping its activity in a way coherent with the needs raised by the pandemic. Which have been the pre-existing characteristics on which your firm relied to remain stable, and which have been, on the other hand, the factors that has been changed as to adapt to the new scenario?
Hello everyone. We absolutely focus immediately on the consolidation of our customers and our suppliers. Immediately, we understand that we have to show flexibility during the pandemic, especially in the management of the new requests that we receive from our customers. We immediately understood that we have a problem. Because in the research of the new potential our customers, because XCM is a third-party logistics in the distribution and in the transport of the pharmaceutical product. And we understand that we had a big problem. And specifically, we found a lot of demotivation in the management of the company. And we understand that they prefer to postpone this kind of choice about the logistic partners for a better period. So we need immediately to understand that we need to give some kind of added value to this kind of choice. And we change immediately the strategy. We change immediately the strategy because we know, thanks to our experience in the retail channel and in the distribution channel, that the distribution of the pharmaceutical product have a lot of critical issues. So immediately we analyze all the process and all the critical issues, and it's emerged that during the pandemic, the online B2C going on really different speed to the B2B. So we take really the best practice of the B2C to the B2B. And this is really become a disruptive strategy, because we start to increase the communication between the pharmacists and the pharmaceutical industry. And we therefore decided to offer a new kind of services that allow the pharmacists to be able to order directly from their management system directly to the industry. And this is with this kind of features, we receive finally the attention of the industry. And to look to the future, especially to answer to the new scenario that we have to look, we will continue absolutely to focus on the innovation and on digital transformation. And I give you some example of what we try to do in this kind of digital transformation. During the pandemic, we understood that we need to educate the pharmacists and the distribution about the supply forecast. sometimes the problem is that they don't need the goods inside the stores, or the delivery time is slowness. So for these reasons, we start to work in just now, thanks to our internal development team, to a predictive ordering, automatic ordering system. And this can be predictive like the history of the order, thanks to the seasonality of the product, and thanks even on some kind of particular shortage condition on the market. Thanks to this kind of experience in all the pharmaceutical sector, especially in the retail, we knew that even the sales networks, even the sales force of the company don't have the communication with the logistics. Sometimes they have some damaged product that arrives in the pharmacy, or there is some kind of delay, and they have to talk the company, and after the company call the outsourcing logistics. We interrupted this kind of communication, and we give the possibility to the company and to the sales force to communicate directly with the logistics. We open a really special platform and a private section on the our system dedicated only to the sales force, to support the management of all the orders, to see all the status of the delivery, and to resolve directly with the customers all kinds of problems. We also do another important things, because we receive our features is to listen really the problem of the company, of the pharmaceutical industries, and together we develop the solution. And we see that they have some kind of problem about start the sales funnel, So we immediately create an innovative call center. An innovative call center is participated only by a professional pharmacist, and we become the first step of the funnel, because we can filter a lot of pharmacy thanks to the interesting, thanks to the population, the location, and we can define completely the custom audience of the pharmacist. So we look at the new scenario, and I'm finished. We look at the new scenario to, as I just told you, to really listen the problem of our customers. And believe me, together we really find a good solution together. This is a good ability that we have, and I think that all the company must have. And thanks to this kind of attitudes, we are now become really a strategic partner for the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this interesting intervention. I will now direct my other question to Antonio Gaudioso, Fortune Italian and member of the Ethical Committee of the Italian National Institute of Health. So the answer of the science to the COVID-19 crisis was incredible. In a short amount of time, scientists managed to produce a vaccine and to find new solutions to the challenges posed by this emergency. The effects of this boost are before our eyes. The timing of the clinical trials and of the research and innovation and development have dramatically changed. This happened thanks to a strong will and choice to invest in this sector and on its innovation. But is this scenario going to change when COVID-19 will be no longer a problem? Are we going back to the previous situation?
Thank you very much for the question, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. So the question is very, very interesting, and the problem is that we have only 5 minutes to give you a feedback, because there is a gigantic discussion that we should open about this, because in last year we have seen that so many things are changed, speaking about research, innovation, and so on. And the first good news is that we have seen that can happen. So the research, innovation can change completely our life, even with a so gigantic challenge that is come by from COVID-19. And we have seen that all work together. The researchers, the scientists, the public institutions have worked together daily to try to fight and win this gigantic fight. So the second thing that we should make the point is that hopefully, and we should work on this, nothing can be the same like before, like previously, because just to give you an idea, every time until January of last year, we were thinking to start a new clinical trials. The ethical committees, even in the European level as well as national level, for example in IFA, that is the Italian drug agency, was taking time, like more or less 8-9 months, maybe 1 year, to discuss the details, to adapt the clinical trial, to adapt the form, to discuss all the details before to start, and then years of work, different phases of the different stages of the research, and then after 5 or 6 years, the results. Now we have completely changed because sometimes in 1 week it has been approved a new project for clinical trials. Why? Because we had a gigantic work to do with COVID-19. We need to add, was needed to add innovation and so on, and the institutions have adapted the models to the needs related to the emergency. It's possible to come back to previous approach? I don't think so. I think that we have to find a way to be in the middle. So putting together the needs of the research, the needs of innovation, and the needs of safety, security, as well as the possibility for the people to have a faster track to have innovation. The third point is that is interesting because, for example, when we are speaking about the vaccines for the COVID-19, we are thinking about the effects in terms of innovation related to this kind of problem. That for sure is important, absolutely important, but is more interesting to know what will happen in the coming years. If you're thinking about the Pfizer and Moderna, for example, vaccine, RNA messenger vaccine, is interesting because the work that is being done of this was coming not by night and day work, but from a long-term work that was doing on immunology. So everything was related about the possibility to find new drugs and new therapies for cancer. And this work gives us the possibility to have a new therapy for the vaccine for COVID-19. What it means in reality, in the facts, that we have jumped at least of 10 years in terms of research and innovation with support of the work on COVID-19, that will give us a gigantic innovation also on other sides. For example, cancer, for example, several other illnesses that we are trying to fight since times and times in healthcare, and for taking care about some illnesses that we are waiting for to find a new therapies and new drugs. So it means that the effects will be also in the coming years so gigantic. And we need also a different way in terms of public institutions to face this kind of innovation. So it means that in this case, the research, the innovation will influence so much also the point of view of public institutions, regulators, companies, and even the people, because we need to be open-minded. We need to understand that research is a pillar for the future, not only for the effects for health, but also for the economic development, and also influencing the careers and the choices that the students are doing for their own future. So is extraordinary, but is needed right now, precisely now that we have to discuss about how to use this gigantic impact to reshape, redesign the future of not only healthcare but also of our society.
Thank you very much for this perspective. Now I would go back to our first speaker, Rosita Calabrese. And since you talked about digitization, personalization, and environmental sustainability, at the intersection of innovation and sustainability, we find in the healthcare sector an increasing focus on the relationship between the doctor and the patient. So how is this relationship between doctor, patient, and pharmaceutical industry changing, and how is Angelini Pharma addressing this change?
Thank you again. It's a very, very important question. So, in recent months, following the COVID-19 pandemic, doctor and patient communication has changed dramatically. The awareness of the fundamental role of technology in supporting healthcare has increased, according to recent data published by the Digital Innovation in Healthcare Observatory. 3 out of 4 patients believe the technology has been decisive in the emergency phase, and almost 40% will continue to use it for remote patient monitoring. So is undisputable again that the healthcare emergency has been an opportunity to test new solutions for patient care and an opportunity to define new methods of care toward a more connected and sustainable healthcare model. In healthcare, digital tools are a great resource to reduce the distance between physician and patients, but the risk is that the relationship suffers. It's therefore necessary that these tools are the service of the doctor-patient relationship, which must remain central. Today, physicians and healthcare professionals have more digital tools to make better choice in the clinical setting, but these are not enough to truly improve the quality of the relationship, meant as a relationship of real alliance and complicity between doctor and patients. Therefore, it's particularly necessary to focus on sharing and understanding people's needs. Let's make an example. For example, today, the web represents a very important moment of consultation for the patients. We are always looking for information and reliable source. Well, for us, as pharmaceutical companies, digital must represent, first of all, a tool for listening to people's needs, and digital will be supporting and enabling the customer journey. In general, brands, and pharmaceutical brands in particular, will be asked to go beyond simple communication by returning value to the community. This might appear a bit holistic, but it's not. This is the reality, and it is for a brand in fashion and a brand in the pharmaceutical environment. We need to go beyond a simple communication product related. It has to be more related to customer needs. So all the brands that do not equip themselves to offer digital experience will be left behind. It's a cultural as well as technological journey that the health emergency related to COVID-19 pandemic has greatly accelerated. But the journey has just started. There is more to come. Angelini Pharma is committed to contributing to the creation or co-creation, I would say, because I believe that pharmaceutical companies need to work in partnership in order to build a new healthcare ecosystem based on both cultural and technical pillars of support, which can facilitate new ways of dealing with the relationship between doctors and patients, from the use of telemedicine application to the creation of a greater culture of digital medicine. And again, that's why today I'm delighted to be here. The journey has just started, and we need a new generation to be part of this journey with the new ideas, new insights in order to make this, in order to bring this to reality.
Thank you very much for this intervention. Now I will go back to Antonio Marzano, asking about the implementation of an advanced IT infrastructure, which constitute the most prominent feature of XCM's business model, and a notable example of digital innovation too. Although such a disruptive factor enabled your firm to keep consistency with the fast-evolving healthcare scenario and grow accordingly, nowadays similar infrastructures are progressively more subject to external interferences. So how is XCM balancing the need of introducing new technologies while at the same time keeping constantly up adequate safeguards?
Yes, absolutely. Especially our company is focused immediately on the digital transformation and the innovation technology. I just want to mention some really practical example of what we do. The main mission of our company is the innovation in the pharmaceutical distribution. In particular, by the experience of their founders, we immediately focus on improving the service to the delivery of the medicine, medical device, and cosmetic or food supplement to the hospital, nursing homes, pharmacies. And we understand immediately that there is a lot of critical issues in this kind of transportation and distribution. And especially the player who suffered most of this kind of inefficiency was the pharmacist. So immediately we start to develop with our internal team of digital transformation a system that really can simplify the communication. In the distribution, we have two important steps. Is the picking of the goods on the shelf and is the transport. So we have to face up to these two problems. We reverse, thanks to an important investment on 4.0 industry, we reverse completely the picking mechanism that often is used in the logistics. In fact, in our case, the success is really guaranteed by a multi-order picking system, in order to prevent the operator to returning unnecessarily several times to the same shelf. Another important point is the management of the last mile. You know that the third-party logistics often use an external network of transport that interrupts completely the communication between the pharmaceutical industry and their customers. So XCM can start a process of creating a really unique and single network of temperature control transport in all the national territory that can guarantee the extremely fast lead times, and that guarantees that all the rule in the pharmaceutical sector is respected. Another important attention, we put the attention to the environment. All our warehouses is just equipped with a really low consumption of energy technology. For example, our cold rooms is one of these, and because we have to storage the product between 2 and 8 degrees, and all our warehouse is just equipped with the solar panel on the roof and a battery pack for being autonomous on the energy. And our lifting system is in collaboration with Toyota, and all the handling system that we have is autonomous. It's just equipped for autonomous driving. As it's equipped with the interconnection system that can give us immediately on our platform the result of a lot of sensor for prevents any kind of faults on this kind of systems. We know, sure, there is a problem, because we know that all these technological features, with all these kind of technological features, we expose the company to external interferences, sure. So we start immediately to try to resolve, and we do two kind of intervention, online and offline. For offline, we start to prevent any kind of problem to our building. And we install, thanks to our partners, a really innovative video active analytics system that control and have the log of all the access to the plant, and can give immediately from an operator, from a remote operator, can make the interaction directly with the person. For example, like speak into a speaker, or can activate the alarm. Especially, we make really improve the data security. We know that we manage a lot of data and we have to make security, but we have opportunities. First of all, was a critical list, but we transform into opportunities. We have inside our area an important digital divide problem, but we have a really big and tall chimney in this kind of industrial area that we reconvert completely into a repeater. And like this, we can start to offer even to the neighbor company the service of the network, and we create our point-to-point private network. Sure, we know that this is not enough, especially inside our company. We continuously make backup for every kind of device and every kind of network, but we have the alternative, because the solution is really the alternative. We can active if we need the disaster recovery mode. As we call it in the company, it's a pre-story mode. But we can absolutely make all the operation even manually. So I think, and I'm finished, that the solution is really to balance the technological and the classical operation, because we only with this kind of attitude we can resolve the external interferences, and we can support our business. Is there any problem of connection? I think
so. Our moderator is freezed.
Yeah, it's freezed.
Maybe someone from the IT support can help. I don't know.
Do you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, Ludovica,
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
some kind of problem. Everything shut down. Sorry.
Everything's fine.
Okay, so the last question is for Antonio Gaudioso. So Italy suffers from a generalized inhomogeneity circa the provision of healthcare services. This stark contrast involves not only different regions, such as northern and southern ones, but even different areas within the same region. Although it is evident how the telemedicina could close the gap provoked by factors such as lack of personnel, it is not evident as well how this same tool could be implemented, considering that Italy features large geographical sections which are technologically underdeveloped.
We can't hear you. Your mic is muted.
Oh,
okay,
here,
now we can hear you.
Yeah. So exactly this, and what happened just 2 minutes ago gave me the possibility to give you an appropriate feedback about this important answer. Sometimes we are discussing about the words like telemedicine and telemedicina and so on. And we are thinking that is only a problem of training, culture, and so on, or devices that you can have at your disposal. The first one of the most important points is the infrastructures. So just you can imagine just what happened 2 minutes ago, if it's happening when you're using a technology to take care about the health of the people. And in Italy, we have a gigantic gap of investment in infrastructures. As you can imagine, it's like if you have a Ferrari that you can drive, and you're driving the Ferrari in the countryside road. So it's quite complicated if you're not using the appropriate road, appropriate highway to drive your own Ferrari. It's precisely what's happening with the telemedicina and what happened in the last 15, 20 years, because telemedicina has to use the technology to take care about the health of the people is nothing about that happened in the last 6 months. Is technologies that are used throughout the world in last 20 years. And in Italy, for lack of infrastructures and investments for infrastructures and lack of policies about this, we haven't had available in all the country. We have discovered in last year as can be fundamental, not only to take care about the health of the people, but also as a way to fight against inequalities that we have in our own country. That are inequalities not only between North and South, but also in the same regions between the cities and the known like the areas known as internal areas that are a big part of our country, where they are living roughly 11 million of people. Just to give you an idea, the small, beautiful, nice cities that are fantastic when you like to go during to spend a fantastic weekend with the middle age places and so on, but during the week they have a lack of infrastructures and so on. So you need, first one, to have a policy about technologies, how to use for health. The second, you need a very strong investment on infrastructures, and probably with the recovery fund, we have this kind of gigantic opportunity. But if we have the opportunity and we have not the policy, is a big problem. The third, you need a training, a very strong training about medical doctors and in general about the people that in healthcare system have to use this technology. The fourth, you need an investment on health literacy for the people about how to use the innovation and the technologies to take care about their own health. And then, last but not least, you need a model of organization of the services that integrating using the best technologies, the hospital activities, as well as the assistance that is done out of hospital. So I think that there is a gigantic opportunity. We have the technologies, we have also the money, we need the policies and the ideas and the strategies. That is not a secondary point, is a very, very crucial point. And I think that the contribution in terms of ideas that can come from universities and places like this could be absolutely strategic right now to support the political leadership to make the right choices about the future on this important point.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you for your interesting interventions on this topic. But before we close our panel today, since all of you have such inspiring jobs because you're working to guarantee that your sector can face the challenges that are posed by digital and ecological transition, I would like to ask all the three of you, just in a couple of words, if you have some suggestions for all the students that want to pursue this career, or for people that are joining the pharmaceutical sector in their early stages.
I can start, okay? Let's break the ice. My advice, I would say, my recommendation to students is to be curious, continuously curious. The other one is to be arrogant in a positive way. I mean, don't be shy Even if you are the youngest in the room, don't be shy to propose your ideas. Don't be shy or be worried to be disruptive. And the last advice is to learn continuously and leveraging on two dimensions, vertical and horizontal. Vertical means to try to dig deep as much as you can. If you like something, you need to become an expert to be credible. At the same time, you shouldn't lose the horizontal dimension, which is to learn new things. Otherwise, at a certain point, you will reach out a plateau. Yes, you are an expert, but so what? While it's important that when you say it, you attend a meeting, you need to contribute across the board. And good luck for everything.
Thank you.
It's not easy, because I think, this is my opinion, that probably the job and the career that you will undertake today does not yet exist. So this is a huge competitive really advantage for you. This is really a competitive advantage. So you, compared to the other generation, you have to exploit it. You have some skill that the other generation envy you, believe me. And you have really on the other level. So you have a completely new type of mindset, and you have to exploit it. What I want to suggest you, and it's like the Rosita Calabrese says, be curious, really be curious about everything, because it's really important to be curious. And sometimes you can find the answer really near you. You can find the answer really near you. And the most important exercise that you have to do is to stop and think. Stop and think, because you can grow really a lot. This is thanks to this kind of attitudes. If I'm young, you see, I'm young, but I'm here today. I need to say thank you to this kind of attitude. But I'm really sure that you can do really great things, and don't be afraid about nothing.
Yeah, if I may, Ms. Fabrizi, I would like to build on what Mr. Marzano said. I fully agree. The job that you are going to say doesn't exist yet, which is fantastic. It's a huge opportunity for you. I mean, I'm a chemist as background, and my professor at the time used to say that cows make their best milk on the first 5 years, which actually means that when you are young, is the best of your creativity and is the best way you can be disruptive. So I fully agree. It's an outstanding advice he gave you.
And as you can imagine, it's complicated to add something interesting after Rosita and Antonio words. But briefly, a couple of things. The first one, I think that we have to agree that the first point is to study. Continue to study, never stop. But study means several things. It means, for example, to make unconventional experiences, because it's fundamental to have a pillar, and I think that Luis is doing a fantastic job, because it's an unconventional training activity that is difficult to find something like this, for example, in Italy, but I think not only in Italy. So think and make experiences in an unconventional way. So have the possibility to cross with other experiences in non-profit, in companies, and what else, because now you need, I think, in these complicated times, you need to be absolutely not multitasking, but with open mind. You have to be open mind when you are accepting new challenges, like these kind of words are having. Another thing is that to think out of the boxes. So as you were saying, my friends, before, don't accept the challenges to do something that could be absolutely strange in a contest that usually, maybe too many times, are absolutely conventional. We need to rebuild the world and the strategies for the future to be absolutely unconventional and innovative. And you have a gigantic opportunities from this point of view to have, places like this that helping you to be absolutely unconventional. So good luck.
Thank you very much to all the three of you for these advices. And I think this will be very helpful for our students, but for me personally as well, because I resonate a lot with what Dr. Marzano said, since I'm going to start working in the pharmaceutical industry as well, in the legal compliance and sustainability department, which is something that probably when I graduated wasn't even conceived as something to be all together. So I thank you very much, all of you, for your intervention. And I don't see any questions coming from our audience. So Elena, if you agree, we could close our meeting.
Of course, I would like to thank again the LDIS students community. Judith is a member of this community for organizing this and for putting together the pieces of this amazing conversation with this generation that we learn from and that our partners are nurturing. And also I would like to thank Luis for US University for hosting this, and of course the whole teaching team of the Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability course, including our director Cristina Ione. So thank you, Ludovica, for moderating this, and see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.